Well, hello everybody. This is the Eagle, and tonight I'm talking about drone filming techniques. And on the panel, I've got Steve.
Hang on, I've got an echo. Yeah,
I've got an echo on. Who hasn't turned the YouTube off?
That was on my phone actually.
Oh, Aerial Views and Histories UK, and DJI man Tony is on the panel. Hello. So welcome you two. Nice to have you both on the panel tonight. So I'm going to ask both of you, what's the first thing you should do when you are about to fly or when you take off? What is the first thing you should do to the camera?
Take the gimbal guard off.
yeah, that is that's good. Hello, FSV Fin Sky Views. Nice to have you in, and get your girls in.
Tap the make sure it's focused.
Yeah. So the first thing that I usually do when I take off, which is a tip that I was told by somebody, is lock your exposure. And you know how to do that on the app, don't you?
Top right of the DJI, that could be.
Yes, correct. Top right hand side. Good evening, Rob Miles. Nice to have you in. We've got 8 watching. So that is the first tip, that after you take off, you should set your exposure and lock it. And then you don't get all the ups and downs as you're moving the camera down and everything else. Now, a second tip I was given by somebody, and I don't know what you think of this, is that before you start flying, wherever you are, have a piece of music that you are going to set your flight to. So don't go out and fly first. Get your choice of music sorted first.
To be fair, Eagle, I would disagree with that, depending on exactly what sort of video you wanted to shoot, really. With mine, I have literally, for the spoken parts I do, which is most of it, I just literally have a low backing track that just keeps things, bumping along, But if you're actually going for just the straight drone shots, then I would recommend thinking of your music before you start your edits. I think that happens every time I speak, mate.
Blue Drum Torso. Never heard of that one. So hello, welcome to tonight's live stream. You're a moderator now, Steve. And so it's Tony's not a moderator. I better make you a moderator then as well, Tony.
Right, FSV, you're doing all right, mate.
Yeah. Oh, you are a moderator, Tony, aren't you? Yeah. Sorry about that. Well, I'm only talking generally that before I usually go out flying, if I'm doing anything, I've got a piece of music in mind. So then I can fly to the music that I'm going to put onto the video. So I don't know whether you do that at all, do you, Tony?
No, I tend to do it afterwards because, as you know, I'm out and doing 3 or 4 flights a day, and I go into YouTube now to do the editing, and they give me a selection of music on their net, so I don't get any of this copyright crap, So I go down and I listen. I have the video on the editor, and then I run the music in the background and see how it looks that way,
Yeah. Hello, Paul Michael David Bain. Nice to have you in on this subject. It's a different subject. It's drone filming techniques. So I've heard from Tony. So you've had your say there, Steve, about that you normally pick the music afterwards.
Yeah.
So what about what mode do you two fly in normally then?
In terms of filming modes or flying modes?
Flight modes and filming modes.
That depends on the shot, really. Very rarely I'll use I fly the Mavic Pro, as you already know, Eagle.
Yeah.
And I do generally fly normal mode for most of the panoramic shots that I do. But if you want sort of sweeping sort of landscape shots, you know, it's got to be in sport mode really when you're high up. Otherwise, you just don't get the speed you need to cover a vast area, you know. And if you're in a really tight spot, then you put it on tripod. You know, that's about as best as I can put it. But for your panoramics, you do want normal mode. Otherwise, on sport mode, then things are super twitchy, as you might know already.
Yeah. I'm just going to say hello to 616 Drones. Hello to you as well. We've got Steve, Aerial Views and Histories UK on the panel. And we've got DJ Tony in as well. Man Tony, that's it. I always get mixed up. So what mode do you usually fly in? Because Tony flies the Mavic as well as like you, Steve. And he's also got an Inspire that he also flies.
Nice.
Hello, love my drones.
The Inspire is down at this point in time, but I tend to use the GPS hold and just do it that way. You know, there's a couple of times with the Inspire. Oh, just give me a second. I'll get back to you in a second because it's on.
Okay, don't forget to turn the sound off then, Tony. Hello, love my drones and up, down, under. Nice to have you in, mates.
Love my drones.
Yeah, so because you should never fly in the auto mode because you know, if you can get away from flying in the auto mode, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
So another thing that I was always told, and this has always stuck with me, that you don't film or you don't press that record mode until you have decided on the footage that you require. I don't know whether you agree with me on that, but it saves on because you're not recording. You get a bit longer battery life, but you should always think about the shots that you want first before you hit that record button. So, what's your opinion on that, Steve?
I'm a little bit more sort of maverick in my ways that I do things. Can you still hear me, Eagle?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Yeah.
Generally, what I'll do is, because a lot of the locations that I'd go to can be quite large, so I do a good walk round first, try and picture the key things I want to go for, and then I'll put the drone up, you know, and keep me line of sight and everything. And before I even take off, I hit the record button, you know, because I've always got spare batteries. I've got a 64 gig card in there and 2 backup 16 cards, which I mean, that's 4 hours worth of recording when I need 5 minutes of footage maybe for each video, you know, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less. So I just hit record, and sometimes some of the best shots you get are just accidental shots getting from A to B, and you don't fully realize how good it is until you get it like back home on your computer and you're like, oh, I really like that bit or whatever. And I'd say about a quarter of the footage that's on the videos that I do is from just having the record mode on at all times, basically.
Yeah. I'm just going to say hello to Sean of Expat in Mazaron, Lord Brandon. Who else we got? Gomez Adams. Nice to have you in as well. Yeah, because the reason why I've always thought, because I'm a filmmaker from a videography point of view, that you should always plan your footage, the shots that you want, because you waste a lot of, if you just press that record button as you're taking off, you haven't planned what type of sequence you really want. So I've always made it a rule that all right, that this is when I'm going out and filming a project, that I've always made it a rule to think about the shots and the footage I want, because this is what it's all about, how to improve our drone footage. Because to be honest, you know, I draw a lot of drone flyers for my review show, and you do see maybe 10 minutes of doing the same back and forth, going round. So it's about how to improve our drone footage as cinematographers or videographers. So this is why I thought, well, I'll talk about this because it's a subject close to me heart, you know, and to me, it's an interesting subject. So how do you think you can improve your footage that you get? I'll put that to Tony first.
Okay.
If I'm going to improve my footage, I still actually do the full flight recording because there's a couple of things, you know, where you might be flying over a place and you might see a car accident, or you might see something happening that's important that could be used as evidence in a crime, you know, and that you can even edit that out when you get back home. How you prove it is you can have UV filters, or you know, the colored filters, but that's the expensive route. It's just really using the exposure on the camera and getting those lines down so you know you got a perfect picture, although it's not ideal in a bright situation where you're on the iPad because you can't see where you're flying. So, you know, that's only my suggestions, like.
Yeah, I agree, love my drones, but if you are making a video that you want people to watch and increase your watch time, you've got to think about, have a plan of what you want to film, the way you want to film it, because you know, you see a lot of drone footage that is just flying up and back, going round, instead of thinking about how to improve your filming or your filmmaking with a drone, because a drone is an extension to a camera, and there's 8 movements or 7 movements in cameras movements, and that is the dolly in and out, that's going forward and back. You've got the orbit, you've got the pan, which is a camera movement, you've got the tracking shots, you've got the high and low going up and down, you've got the crane shots, and you've got the tilt of the camera looking down. So they're camera shots that are used in nearly every film, or you know, if not all, some of them are used in most films. So, you know, I'm just trying to give a technique or tell people how to improve their films that they do with drones. So what's your opinion then, Steve? Sorry about that, keeping you out at the moment.
That's okay, mate. I do agree with Love My Drones on this.
Yeah.
Like I say, I leave the recording on at all times, and for what I do specifically, I don't know. I do a little bit of research on my topics before I set off, but I do my full research and my own essays once I've got home from the locations, and then I can look back through the footage. I'll have an idea in my head what I want to shoot, but until I get there, I don't have it fully like in my head how I'm going to do it. So what I'll do is I'll take off, hit the record button already, you know, fly to where I want to be, and then just get all the locations. But as you sort of imagine a shot, just pause it for a second and then get your shot. So you've got the perfect opportunity for the cutting, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, because I agree with Love My Drones. It's in the editing stage, but it's, if you plan, you save yourself a lot of time in the editing stage. That's what I'm basically talking about, is like if you are making a film, you do a storyboard. So like you, Steve, you research your subject where you're going to. So in that research, before you actually go flying, you should do a recce of the area and think, how can where's the best position to fly from? What are the best camera angles to get, you know, for filming wise? And that's all about planning. And by doing that, you then get better films out of your footage that you have taken. So that's, to me, what it's all about. Another thing that I always say, or I've always been taught, that if you put your drone in danger, I don't mean fly too close to trees or objects, but the closer you can get and fly safely, the more dramatic your footage will be.
Agreed.
So what's your two opinions on that? Tony first, if you like.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on location, like there's a house in the middle of a forest down here, and if you get the Mavic up in that area, then you know you got visual sight and you can actually monitor that, and the Mavic has very good protection for it to glide into things forward, so you can get some dramatic shots. But there's two programs, there's two things that I've enjoyed doing. On the DJI app itself, you can do a planned route where you fly the route first and you mark out marker points, and you set the drone to a slow speed, and then you come back and you relaunch that program out, and then because you've flown it already, you know it's safe, and you can then control the camera at different angles and heights to actually get the shots you want. And you also can do it in Litchi, of course, where the Litchi flies and you have control of the camera. You know, they're both very good. And if you keep the heights up to about 250, 280, then, you know, you're fine.
Yeah. What about you, Steve?
In which bit are we specifically referring to here, Eagle?
About danger, you know, putting your camera in danger to get those better shots, you know, because I always think that the closer you become to an object without actually hitting it, you get a lot better footage because your audience is anticipating you hitting that object. but because you've got a wide view on the camera, it's deceiving, isn't it? So the more dramatic that you can get, I mean, you know, it's like I've always thought that it's like with cameras. You know, if you're filming, there's two main: is reveal or conceal. So if you're revealing something, you're flying either backwards or into it. But if you've got, say, you've got a harbour scene, and you've got a couple of trees on the path, you know, or near the harbour. To me, just filming a harbour scene is bland. But if you do a pan behind the trees, revealing the harbour with the boats in, it makes for a far more aesthetically pleasing shot. And it's things like that where you plan the type of footage you want. Because YouTube is about retaining your audience's watch time. It's not about subscribers or anything like that. It's how can we improve as cinematographers or videographers or drone flyers? How do we keep people's attentions on 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes of drone footage? So I want your opinions on it, and those in the chat, like Jager Scott. Hello, Jager Scott. It's nice to have you in here as well. So if you've got any opinions, please put them down, and then I'll get the panel to answer them then. So yeah. I'll throw that open to you, Steve, first. You know, how do you think you can improve your drone footage? I'm not talking about the rest of the footage you take, but your drone footage. So say you've got 3 minutes of drone footage. How do you think you can get people to stay watching that drone footage?
You've got to fly in such a way where, you know, for anybody who's in here that knows, you know, the dramatic sort of reveal shot, either like a rise up alongside the target, if we're talking sort of like a tower or a high building. Yeah. Like, you know, a lot of the places I do are abandoned, so I don't have too much problems with flying too close to these buildings because, you know, no one even cares about them anymore anyway, you know. Yeah. and then obviously like your sort of pullback shots as well. I think just the main way is just trying to keep your footage breathtaking and not hang on to a single shot or specific like focal point for too long. Like you say, you know, there is a lot of videos out there, and don't get me wrong, you know, I do enjoy watching quite a lot of these videos where people are flying fields and things like that. But you know, it is better to have, like you say, a specific target and the way you want to shoot it in mind, even if it's just a rough idea, how you want to get the shot and how you want the shot to look. Especially, you know, I don't particularly try and put my drone in danger in that sort of way. I do everything I can to get rid of any risk while I'm getting these shots, like as you try and do, you know, as you know, I've already trashed a Mavic like on my adventures, but you know, so that was an expensive one. So I don't actually, you know, I do everything to negate any risk whatsoever. And I took a bit of a risky one today, flying in heavy wind. I don't think I really should have done that, really, but I got it back all right, and everything was all right on the day. But like I say, yeah, just don't focus too much on one area unless it's got some real significance to it. But obviously, as you know, I do spoken histories to things. So if you're actually doing a spoken history, sometimes you do need to like hang on to one specific structure or whatever while you get through the history of that. But then you get some locations like, say I was at RAF Upwood last week, and that was just sprawling openness with just loads of abandoned buildings. So you're constantly picking out, you know, obviously the control tower is your main target. You're trying to get in on that and get the best angles, you know, climbing it and descending round it and, you know, like you say, getting the orbits in. But then you're trying to cover like the rest of the location as well, you know, without hanging on something for too long. Do you understand what I mean, Eagle?
Yeah, I do. So what's your views on that then, Tony?
I mean, one of the things I have been planning to do is like when you were saying about the trees and say in front of a say a river or something, and you know there's a gap to fly through. What I would normally do, or what I'm thinking about doing, is go down to the DJI app and do a planned route where you log a set event. So you fly between the trees, you log that, then you fly through a bit further, you log that, you climb out, you log that, you turn the helicopter around, log that, and fly back through again. Because you're in control of the helicopter and visual sight, that records that information to the start and the end of your video, and you can actually let the autonomous flight happen. So you can actually move the camera to the right position, or you know, tip it down a bit further. That's how I would do it, and certainly you can go up to I think 500 feet in a circle now with DJI app, which is quite good actually. You know, so you can actually get some really nice shots, but you have control of the camera and you've already done the flight, so you're really flying yourself, but it's into automated. You know, place like so. You know, it's worth doing.
Yeah. Hello, Francis. Happiness Sparkles. Nice to see you in here. And Alexander Smith. Nice to see you. His problems if you can only get within 30 meters here, not recreation up to 15 meters license. Yeah, that is the problem. But it's as I've said before on this live stream, it's about planning what you want to do. Hello, Stephanie. Sorry, I didn't see you there because I'm doing an Angel Muniz is in. Hello, Angel, my friend.
Yeah, Angel.
So I'm throwing this open to both of you then. First of all, Tony, in what ways, Tony, do you think you can make your videos better for your subscribers to watch, to get more view time on them?
Shorter flight times, which I'm starting to do now. Possibly cut out the landing takeoff, and just generally try to focus in on the main point of the flight.
Yeah. So just a suggestion, Tony, because you do a lot of flying around your area. You've got some great footage. Why don't you do a video of a compilation of all your footage? Instead of putting up like you do at present, maybe a video or 2 videos a day, put up a video every other day, but make it of different areas, because that's the way I would edit your videos. I mean, that is in my opinion, and then I think you will get a lot more viewers, you will get a lot more supporters for your channel.
Yeah, I agree.
It's only a suggestion to me, I mean, I'm not picking at you because I enjoy all your footage. You're a good drone flyer. It's smooth, you get some brilliant shots. It's just that, as you said just then, they go on for a bit too long, because you're flying one way, then you turn round and you're flying back the same way as you come. Yeah. So to me, it would be worth cutting and cutting and cutting different areas, because people don't know you can put a footage of 5 or 6 places you've visited, and people won't know when it's put together that it was from 5 or 6 places. They'll only see what you put on, and
Yeah.
if you cut it down to 3 minutes, 4 minutes, people will enjoy it better. So the same question to you then, Steve.
Yeah, okay. Well, before we get started, in the chat it says Tony needs to type something so we can find his channel. I think there's a few people trying to find you on there, mate. So yeah, I just thought I'd give you the heads up. Yeah.
But you should be able to do my icon there. You should be able to click on the icon after the DJI, man. That should sort that one out.
Yeah, well, just say hello to them all in there, and then they'll be able to click on your channel, Tony, and hopefully you will get a few more subscribers.
There we are.
Yeah, that's Tony's channel, the DJI man, Tony. Yeah. Always gives me, it's a mouthful. I mean, he's what did you used to call yourself, Tony? Your channel again?
In UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So always got me his channel.
Steve.
Yeah, go on then, Steve. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, that's all right, mate. It's all right. It's having a little chuckle.
Have you heard of Hangar 360?
No, I haven't.
I would recommend you look on the App Store and get that, because what 360 does, it turns your drone into a 360-degree camera. You set the height for 299 or 200 feet, and the drone will go up and take a section of pictures, upload it to the net, and then download give you the link to share to your friends. It's a free app, and it's a free compilation on the web.
Nice.
And it's called Hangar 360.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to have a look into that, mate.
Yeah, because I think the shots of the airfield, people could actually see that from a 399 feet up and use their finger or the mouse to look around that airfield. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, and all that sort of thing,
Yes, mate. Yeah, like I say, I think with back to Eagle's question, I think probably the best thing I could do to actually improve, specifically when I'm on location, it'd be research more where I'm actually going before I go there, because a lot of places I go to are quite spare at the moment, and sometimes there is a lot of travel involved, and the places that, I'm not saying I'm trespassing, but I'm not necessarily meant to be there. So I do have to sort of speed up what I'm doing when I'm on location quite a lot of times, especially, with the Airbex style stuff that I do. You never know when someone's going to show up and tell you to bugger off,
Yeah. Hello, Carla. Nice to have you in. Dennis, I've sent you an invite if you want to come in, because you are a filmmaker. So I'm trying to get over to the people in the chat and the people on the panel about filming techniques, because a drone is a camera, and it's a case of using the drone as a camera. And, you know, this is what it is. It's, you have got to think about what type of footage you want. That's the way you will improve as a cinematographer, as a videographer, as a better drone pilot. Because if you plan things, your footage will excel. It will get better. Your channel will get better.
Yes, mate.
So, you know, it's only, I've had since 1988 as a filmmaker, not as a drone flyer, but as a filmmaker. And this is what I wanted to talk about, how to make drone footage better as a filmmaker. You know, I watch your films, Steve, aerial views, and I think you are a filmmaker. You're not just a drone flyer, you are a filmmaker. You try to make your films interesting with the facts you give. I think on some of them, you could cut down a bit on that and just do the bullet points, take certain points, you know, and leave the viewer to check things out instead of giving them all the information.
Yeah, well, like I say, when I met up with the other day, you know, with some of these places that do have very long histories, and that's why I do have to write my own essay. And literally, I do cut them down as much as I can. But like I say, some of these places do have many sort of points of like significant history where you're constantly thinking, if I cut that out, then, you know, 2 points down the line, then that's not going to make sense, because obviously with history, it's always one thing after another, like, you know. I do try and keep them as like you were saying when we met up, you know, try and keep the shots, you know, within 10-15 seconds each shot, and then, you know, with each point of the specific location that you're at, and keep it focused on what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know if I can add much more than that, apart from I'll try and keep me videos a bit more brief. I mean, like the last video I did was that Nettleham Hall video. I have trouble saying that for some reason. And there's not much history for that. So, I mean, I managed to get all the history in, and the drone flight itself, even though you could barely see anything through the trees, down to about 1 minute 50. And then the rest of the video was all exploring. But because I got so much exploring footage on the day, then the video ended up being just short of 10 minutes, even though it's my video with the least amount of drone footage in it so far, like, you know.
I just want to say hello to Dark Matter, my friend from across the pond. Been a while since he's been into one of my live streams. It's an honour to have you in, Dark Matter. So if you don't support Dark Matter, I recommend that you go over to support him.
Okay.
So sorry about that, Steve. I interrupted you there.
No, that's okay, mate. I think I've chipped in just about as much as I can. I'll like I say with them essays and that I do. Like I say, I do just bullet point them now. And I mean, in most of the videos that I do, I'd open up Audacity, get my mic ready, and try and just reel my essay off. And like you say, it was a little bit robotic, sort of in that way, you know. So yeah, I think just like you say, keep bullet points, and then sort of add in my own personal experiences on the day, and mix in the history and my own experiences into the video, rather than having it as like cold cut. There's the drone footage, there's the history, then there's the exploration side of it. Try and mix it in a little bit more.
Yeah, because that will make it more interesting for your viewer, because when you tend to read about history,
thanks, love my drones.
Yeah, it sounds like you are reading. You do a great job of telling the history. Yeah, he really does. Yeah, love my drones. Hello, Nikos. Nice to have you in here. Hello, Barraboy Woods. I'm being honoured with the top-notch YouTubers tonight on my live stream. You know, Barraboy Woods and DIY Dark Matter, two very, very excellent channels. You know, although they're not drone channels, they are really well worth watching. The brilliant filmmakers and brilliant channels to watch.
Yeah, I'll just add in once the stream's over, I'm going to go through the chat. So keep yourself on the chat, and I'll go through and I'll check out as many of you as I can when the stream's over. That's how we all grow, innit? Yeah,
it is. Yeah. It's about supporting each other. That's why I thought, well, I'll try this topic. I know it's not to everybody's thing, but it's about drone filming techniques. You know, if we put these tips into operation, your filming with the drone will improve, because you'll think about what you're going to do first. It's like any film that you watch on TV, Netflix, at the cinema, planning goes in. They do storyboards. They go and research the places where they're going to film at. You know, it might take them months to find an ideal place to film. Yeah, you know, like a castle or a big house or a street or whatever, because they go and recce the place first to find out whether it's suitable for the type of film that they do. And I look at these films of beaches and coasts, and I think how much more people could improve their drone footage of those areas by not just, you know, going up and down or side to side or panning or turning round smoothly, but by taking a shot and then moving to another area and putting that in, which to me makes a film worth watching. Because it's, you know, I was always taught that when I learnt to film was watch a film or watch a soap, and you've got the what I call the 3-second rule, that the camera angle changes or a new story or a new character gets involved. Because the more you do that, people's attention span's about 3 to 5 seconds, and then they get fed up. So if you don't change your camera angles or your drone footage every 3 to 5 seconds, people get fed up with just watching it. Unless you are filming action, that is the only difference. Because if you are filming action, like Tony, if you know, you're doing a car chase or you're chasing after a boat and it's got movement in, and then people will watch it for a bit longer. But if you leave it on for too long, then they'll get fed up and they'll go away from your channel. This is why you've got to think about your viewer. You don't think about yourself, you think about how to improve your films for your viewers. Hello, Don Joyce, nice having you in from Canada. And Barry or porn Keith. Yes, porn keeps people. Yeah, sex. You know, if you've got a beautiful woman in your film dressed in a bikini or showing a bit of whatever, then you will keep people's attentions. Or do a clickbait. Yeah, that always works, doesn't it, Tony?
Oh yes, indeed.
But you know, I'm only trying to help people, especially the drone flies community, or anyone who really is serious about improving as a filmmaker. That it's using people. Watch soaps, watch Netflix films, watch a series, and see how they do it. Because you can always learn from watching other people's good channels. I don't mean the bad channels. There's a lot of good channels out there.
On one of the last videos I did was the ship coming into harbour at Tynemouth, and I positioned the drone in position in the front of the ship as it came in. So the ship actually went underneath me. Then I flipped to the side, but was still ahead of the ship. So I did that side shot of it coming along the front of the in front of the drone, and then I went round the back and showed the back as it pulled away, and then finally ended up on the right hand side. So I did a 360 type shot and went from camera to camera to camera. You know.
Yeah. Which we all use these various techniques, but it's learning how to improve using these techniques.
Yes, mate. I do notice on TV more and more, you sort of like once you've been flying a drone, you notice them drone shots a lot more.
Yeah,
especially sort of like flying over housing estates, and them sort of like reveal shots, like I was talking to you about. I mean, that's just classic sort of drone sort of video making, and the rising sort of reveal shot as the camera lifts up. You do notice them a lot more, and I mean, when you're watching these things, you do sort of take a lot of hints from them. You think that actually looked really good like that, or you get that nice slow panoramic, and you think, yeah, that's a little bit better than mine. There was a bit closer in, or there was a bit higher up, like looking down on like a target or something. Yeah, I definitely agree with you, mate. It's all a learning curve.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Hello, Alex of hello, WrestleMania. Nice to have you in as well. This is it, because you can learn from watching things like that. I mean, I watched a film the other day, and all there was about 5 seconds of drone footage in it, but the drone footage that 5 seconds was stunning. It kept me interested, because it was dangerous, because it went below a couple of tree branches, and it looked dangerous, but it was dramatic in the way it was produced. I mean, if you go over and have a look at DJM films, his use of a drone in one of his films, where he was panning, following his daughter running, that is what I call dramatic footage, because he's got a subject in, he's thought about his shots, he's planned his shots, and he is a filmmaker, so that's the way you learn.
Yes, mate.
So I'm just going to get off the drone footage now, because Tony put up a premiere tonight of his experience over the weekend, because he's into the paranormal. Now, after watching that, Tony, and you put it up, and Steve hasn't watched it, but in what way do you think you could improve a film like that?
I needed, at the start, I did need a drone footage of it just coming down to the main entrance, but I didn't get there before the light was. But the footage itself, I was the only camera person, and I need a second camera person. So when I'm working with the guests, they can film me from different angles, and that would change it dramatically.
Yeah. Maybe it was because I didn't have a drone in the video. Yeah, that's right, Dark Matter. Yeah. Well, here's my views on that, and that is drone footage instead. Is that if you'd have got a few interviews with the people who were there, asking them why they are into the paranormal, and then put into, as they are talking, put in the footage that you get, because it was filmed. Because you're into the paranormal, Tony, you've got to think, how can I make my video a lot more interesting to my viewers? And number one would be interviewing the people there. They don't have to be on camera, they're just talking. You get them why they're involved in that paranormal experience, and then get your shots, different angles. Tell us a bit about what you was doing. That would help as well, because I half the time I didn't know what you was doing. She got those prongs out, and I thought, is she a water diviner or whatever? So I thought, you could have improved that a lot more.
Absolutely.
So think about what you did, because you are a good drone flyer, and you are, or you could be, a good filmmaker as well. Steve's going on the right ways to be a good filmmaker.
Cheers, mate.
You are, because I've watched your films, and I've only just recently started following your channel, but you are going in the right direction. And it's only by joining in these. Oh, we've got the lovely Jeanette Pickering in. I never got no notification. Sorry about that, Jeanette. I'll have to remember to send you a message before I go live. I didn't think you'd be interested in the topic that we're discussing tonight, because it's drone filming techniques, and it's about not just drones. I'm talking about the different techniques, how to improve people's drone footage to get more watch time on their videos, because I think we all need better watch time, because my average watch time over the last year on my videos is only 3 minutes 32. Now, I've set my goal by the end of the year. I would like my average watch time to go up to 5 minutes. I don't know what Dark Matter's watch time is. On live streams, yeah, it's 13, 14, 15 minutes of watch time on average. But it's a case of when you are uploading films, like I do, drone footage, or I go out and film other things, it's getting more watch time on that. That's what my goal is. I've set my goal, trying to get 5 minutes of watch time. If I can get up to that, then the analytics of YouTube come in and they will recommend you more. Hello, Baz Burton. Nice to have you in. What's this? I put out an epic drone video tips video a few months back, focusing on getting people really engaged. I'll have to watch that, Don, because I must have missed that. So I know it's just I just keep hitting subscriptions, and we all seem to be having trouble with notifications. So the only thing I can recommend is that if you're on Twitter, I always share it on Twitter, and I usually share it on Jeanette's Facebook group before I go live. Didn't this time because I forgot to. My watch time is about 30 seconds. That's all I can afford to pay people. oh, yeah, I did think about that one time.
Before you even read that, I had a little giggle.
yeah, that is a good one. So how much do you want off me, Dark Matter? Yeah, DJ and films. Yeah, I sent you an invite, Dennis, because I thought you might have come on. Is it still? He's on. Yeah, it's still. So I'll send him another invite, because I don't know whether you've seen Dennis's channel, have you, Steve?
I haven't.
Yeah, well, he's a filmmaker. He don't put up that many films because he's always filming them. That's why I've been trying to get him on the panel. Welcome, Dennis.
Hiya, how you doing?
All right, thanks. So you are a filmmaker.
Yes.
So what tips can you give the drone flyers for improving their videos?
Well, I wouldn't like to tell them what they do, because I do droning, but I don't do what they do, a lot of droning. But what I tend to do when I take my drone out is, if I'm filming the drone or if I'm doing a film, like you said, you have to do so many seconds of shots, because if you stay on the same shot, it can get boring. But what I tend to do is, when I fly, I always think about the editing side as I'm flying. If I see something, I think about how I'm going to edit it as I'm flying. So when it comes back and I've got the footage, I know exactly how I'm going to cut it into the edit and how long it's going to be. Because a lot of people take the drones out, or they take the cameras out, and they film a lot of things, but they don't think about, when they get it back, how it's going to turn out. So you've always got to think about the editing side before you film it. Really, that's what I do.
Yeah,
that's good advice, mate. I'll agree with that.
Yeah, because you are a filmmaker, and that's what I've been trying to get over to people in the chat and over to the two on the panel. That the more the plan, the more the recce and think about the shots or the footage that they want, the better they are going to improve as video makers or filmmakers and drone flyers. Because
when I do a film, obviously a filmmaker, they do storyboards, do scripts and things like that, to sort of keep them on track, so they don't sort of sway off the story or something like that. When you take a drone out, you catch what you catch, and you know you've got what you've got when you get out there. With a film, you can plan it out a lot easier than you can a drone film, because when I took my drone out and did the nighttime flight, I tried to do a lot of big circles so I could get a lot in, and I did a lot of steady shots, up and down shots and things like that. But when people say, like you said, a lot of people do bays and going across the beach and things like that. I think drone there's a lot of drone videos out there doing the same thing. So you have to try and do something different to catch people's eyes, to to make them, or not make them watch, but keep them on watching your channel. So you got to do something different to what everyone else is doing now, because there's that many out there.
Yeah. Alexander Smith, sorry to interrupt you, Dan.
Sorry.
Alexander Smith, it's his wife Emma who's the brilliant singing voice, who has a brilliant singing voice. Hello, Ian. Nice to have you on. Yeah. So, what other tips then, as a filmmaker, can you give to droners then?
Well, I watched one of Tony's drone videos, because I'm subscribed to Tony. He chased a car.
Yeah.
And because he chased the car, it was something different. It wasn't going across a beach. It wasn't going over hills or trees. It was something different. I watched it twice. So it was something different. It was something exciting. So I watched it again, to see. And I was just wondering how far he got before it returned to home. And I think I did ask that question. Yeah. But it was something different. And that's what people need to do, something different. People are now, I know drones cost a lot of money, but people are doing daring things to get people to watch their channel, to do something different, really.
Yeah, it's being unique, isn't it? Because I do that drone flies review show, I look up a lot of drone channels, and although I like watching them, I think 6 or 7 minutes of the same drone footage going over the same area gets a bit tiresome. Yeah. The views and the footage is great. It's why put it on for 6 or 7 minutes? Why not edit it down and make a film of it, not just drone footage?
Yeah. I know Tony's on. What's the other channel? I can't really see. I'm on the phone. You see, I can't really see.
It's Aerial Views and Histories UK.
I think I'm actually subscribed to him as well, because because he did. I think it was the forts in the sea. Was it the forts?
Oh yes,
that was absolutely fantastic. It was brilliant, because it was something different, and the history behind it as well, the commentary behind it. It kept you interested.
Oh, thank you.
So it's really good. So that's something different. Like I said, something different than flying over trees with music. It was something different, something interesting. So that was really good. I like really. And when he was on the boat, bringing in some. Because I think you had some scary moments with your drone, didn't you? Bringing it back into the boat.
Yeah.
And you could see the size of these forts. But when he was up in the air, you couldn't actually see the size. You knew they were big, but because the drone goes so high, it makes everything small. But when he got into the boat, wow, they are huge. They are actually. I did say in a comment, it'd be a great place to film something. Like a zombie scene or something. Because it was really good. It was really interesting.
Well, that big fort in the video, there was actually there was a plan to actually turn that into a rehab centre.
But the
plan fell through.
Yeah.
So now it's gone to just sort of like unknown what's happening to it now.
Yeah.
So
I'll buy it.
Hey, the other one's for sale.
Yeah, it's up for sale.
$100,000.
Yeah. Anyone got 100 grand? Ale4 is up for sale.
We need a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
I think
we'll set up a load of drone launch pads from
it.
Yeah.
In answer to your question, it was an Aspire, and I did 2.4 mile chasing the car.
It was a fair distance, yeah.
Yeah, but that footage could be put into any of our films, you know.
It was great. You could have had some really like chase music behind it. It was like he was just going with this car, and I think he was quite close to some lines. I think, and he was like, "Wow, there's the line," straight over them, and it was really good. It really was good. And like I said, I did watch it twice.
Jeanette says she'll go to the bank tomorrow. I've just got to turn my sound off and my picture. I'll be back shortly. Carry on without me.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I was. Simon is the one.
That's Simon. That's right. Yeah.
The car, because I usually film all his aircraft flying. But he says, "Oh, how far do you think you could chase my car?" So I picked up the dare. He said, "Didn't expect you to follow me all the way home," and then he just lived on the other side of the motorway. But that's when my signal got a bit weak, and I returned home.
Yeah, it was a good. Like I said, I watched it twice because I watched it once and I went, I'll go watch that again because I've never seen anything like that. And I wouldn't be able to do anything like that. I mean, with my drone, I don't like to take it out in a windy place, because in case it does a fly off, because it's a flyaway, because they're expensive.
I was down Wales at the weekend, and I mean, it was gusty. Such a degree, you were wobbling. And I took the Mavic up in a hover, and I used the program Hanger 360 and did a 360-degree picture, which I did half expected to fail, but it didn't. And from about 2 feet I got a lovely 360 of the Welsh mountains.
Wow.
Yes, mate. In the chat, someone's saying, does anybody ever do sky shots with a drone? And I mean, in the settings, I think we are speaking quite a lot about sort of DJI sort of camera drones, I think, on topic for sort of, like filmmaking purposes.
Yeah.
On the Mavic, you can actually go in the settings and change your the gimbal lock so it don't lock at the horizon. It actually can go 30 degrees above that, so you can actually sort of get a good view of the sky. I'm not too sure as to how much the props come into the view, but yeah, that is definitely possible.
The only problem I've got with the Mavic in the past is on a sunset. I went out to sea to get the sun reflection on the waters, but coming back in, the Mavic refused to come back in from the sea, and it was saying obstruction, and that was because the front sensors were picking up the sun as an obstruction, so I had to switch them off in the app, and then it would travel forward to get to me or fly backwards towards me. Both worked, but yeah, it was quite worrying when it just was going quite fine, and suddenly the sun came out and it hit the brakes over the sea, and I went, oh no.
Yeah. I'm just looking at Don Joyce's what he said, that wait a minute, tough to do a true sky shot with a drone, but combining drone and ground camera is super powerful. Yeah, agreed on that. Cheers, Maz. Good night. Have a great day.
Farewell.
Sorry about that. Carry on. Whoever was talking.
Yeah, I think a good tip that I can probably give is, like you say, try and not just do the flying around fields and over trees and stuff, but actually integrate a couple of other styles into your videos. So initially I just started off with my drone footage to spoken histories, but then obviously there'd be things that had happened on the day, which sort of got me sort of with whoever's coming with me to sort of record me doing certain things, and then that evolved into like the Airbex side of things. So now at the end of my footage, I sort of get a few minutes of that in. But that really helps because then you can be posting to like Facebook groups, and it don't restrict you to any sort of group. So you can be posting in the drone groups, the history groups, the Airbex and the abandoned and forgotten type groups. And you can get a lot of followers because you're not one specific genre, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, that's been a filmmaker, Steve. It's taking your art as filmmaking with using the drone as an extra camera to get the footage that you want, and as Dennis says, he uses the drone in some of his films, not in all of them. You know, it's when you really want it, isn't it, Dennis?
It is, yeah. Because the reason I bought the actual drone was to make my films more professional. Because obviously, when you got people running through trees, you can also do a high shot of people running through trees from a bird's eye view, which all the films do now to give it that more professional look. So that's the reason why I bought the drone, and then I took it out a couple of times, and I got to like the drone. And obviously, I do droning as well. I don't put it up on YouTube as much because my channel is for film. So I put a couple up there, but that's the reason I got into it, to make my films more professional and give it a bit more oomph to them, to make them look a lot better, make them different, so people watch mine,
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. I mean, the last one I put up was last week, where I did I've got about 10 minutes of footage of Cleethorpes Beach when I was with Steve, but I interviewed Steve and only put about 30-40 seconds of video drone footage on. And I thought that was an excellent quick chat with Steve. I mean, I am going to interview him on my channel with my Time with Gramps. But I'm just going to mention I've got an interview tomorrow with Stephanie, who is in the chat. That heals Stephanie at 9 p.m. tomorrow on my channel, Time with Gramps. So hope some of you will come in. I know some of you are drone flyers and some aren't. So I'm looking forward to that interview tomorrow, because I've interviewed Dennis, I've interviewed Tony. You both enjoyed your experience with Gramps, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, Dennis. That was enthusiastic.
Yeah, I was going to say. I thought someone else was going to say. I was going to say, yeah. I can't wait for my next one.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to do a few more of these topics about filmmaking.
Yeah.
Because we can all improve as filmmakers, whether we're drone channels, filmmakers, or it's just a hobby. Because you do make short films, which I thoroughly enjoy. And I've got to get back into that, So, Pixie's in. How did they do, Pixie? Did they win tonight? Because I ain't seen whether Sheffield United won tonight or whether they drew.
I'll tell you what does make a difference in a drone video is the music as well. That can keep someone interested. If the music goes with the footage, that can really keep someone interested as well. If you've got really good footage and some nasty non-copyright music on there, from somewhere, I mean, you can actually take someone off the actual drone video. So that's got a lot to do with it as well.
Yeah. Bye, love my drones.
Yeah, goodbye, mate. Thanks for all the great feedback.
I didn't see Finley coming. Finley's in. Hello, Finley. Nice to have you in.
He's been in the entire stream, Eagle. He's loving it.
I do apologise. I can't see the chat. So if anyone's in and said hi, I can't see, but hi.
Yeah. So Pixie said, especially when you get a good singer. Yeah. Because I watched that video when you took Emily's song. Yeah, that was brilliant. Because that was the first thing that I mentioned, or the second tip that I gave, that before you go out flying, if you've got a piece of music that you've got in mind, fly to the beat of that music. It helps your editing techniques as well then.
It does, because when I did the night flight, I had a non-copyright. I was listening to a non-copyright music, and one came on, Phil Collins one.
Yeah.
And it was I can't remember what it's called, but it's In the Air Tonight. I don't know if anyone knows that. Calling In the Air Tonight. Anyway, I was listening to it, and I could just picture what I wanted to do with the drone. Take it up really slow, and then when the beat comes in, go forward and things like. So I was working it out before I even went up in the air. So and then I waited till this was the middle of summer, so I waited till about 12 o'clock, and then I took it up. So, and when I actually got it back, it all fit, because listening to the music for a couple of days and working it out in my mind where I wanted to be, when I got it back, it was a lot easier to put, and it does go. It really does go.
Baz Burton says there will be one more drone widow soon, Jeanette. Oh, it's Baz. Yeah, Baz is going to be flying Pixie's drone in a few weeks when they go over to Warrington. Yeah, that's right, because music does make a video. And as you said, you was flying, and then when the beat went up, you raised your drone.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So you should always, before you go out flying, plan with what you're going to do, have a plan, pick your music and fly to music. So if the beat goes up, you go up. If the beat goes down, come down or pan or whatever. So, they're only tips. Whether you use them is another thing, but we're all here to help each other to improve our videos, get more watch time, help retain people's attentions. Because if you do that, YouTube analytics will promote your videos. It don't matter how many subscribers you've got. It's about the watch time. And you can have like 1,000, 2,000 views on a video. But then if you look at the analytics and look into the watch time, and the average watch time is only 2 minutes, you only add 1,200 views at 2 minutes. So YouTube aren't going to promote you. But if you've got 5 minutes or 10 minutes of watch time, the analytics of YouTube will promote you. So your channel will grow at a better rate. That's why live streaming is the best thing if you want to grow your channel, because the average view time on a live stream is between 13 and 15 minutes. So if you're like in a past, Pixie, myself used to live stream most nights of the week. So your watch time goes up. So the analytics then start promoting your channel.
Yes, mate.
But that's getting away from what I originally wanted to talk about. How to improve as videographers or cinematographers.
Yeah, I'd like to cut in just for a quick second.
Yeah. Go on, Steve.
Sort of stemming from what we spoke about when we met last week. Like a lot of people, I'm sure in the chat, have done, multiple flyover videos, of different locations and stuff. And we was talking about, I know it is going off the sort of topic of cinematography a little bit. But, like we were saying, like YouTube loves, top 5s, top 10s, things like that. Even if there's nothing particularly like interesting or any sort of focal points in the area you live, like I'm going to do my next video, like top 5 my favorite locations to fly in Lincolnshire, and then just sort of for each one list off a few key points of why it's really good and what issues you might have on the day. But I'm sure anybody who's in the chat who flies a drone can come up with 3, 5, 10 locations within like a catchment area of say a county or a state or whatever. I know we get some guys from the US in here, counties or states, within that area, which are really good to fly, and then just give their quick opinion. It don't have to be spoken either, just this location for this reasons and whatnot. While we're talking about watch time, it seems to be a lot of the channels that do these top 5s, 10s, 15s along them lines that seem to have the millions of subscribers, and each point is like 30 seconds to a minute. And I mean, I watch a lot of them myself just because you can cram so much information and different topics sometimes into really, within 10 minutes and get a lot of information across. And some of them do keep you hooked when the topic's right. But if you want other drone flyers watching your channel, sort of throw in the odd, top 5 video of your favorite locations you've done already, or the top 5 places you like to fly, or top 10s, and then just throw in some of your own footage that you've got in that area and whatnot. So then it showcases your own talent and informs other people. So like you say, you was talking about the 5 points the other day. I mean, you've got 2 in there already, before you add any other information in.
Yeah, agreed on that. Yeah, you know, so I mean, we're looking forward to your top 5 destinations in Lincolnshire to get out with for the drone. Then I look forward to that video then, Steve, in the next couple of weeks. That's a good tip for us all. Yeah, you know, I mean, best 5 locations for filming, not just with a drone, but general filming work in Lincolnshire or Humberside or whatever. Yeah, I'm going to do one. I think I'll get out.
I'll be a first.
What did you say then, Tony? Did I get that right? That'll be a first, yes. The only time I ever go out with my camera is when I've got somebody with me, you know. So I have definitely got to get out more. That's why I've got to get involved with a few people and do a few collabs, and then I'll get out with my camera. Are you about, by the way, Dennis, on Friday?
Say again?
Are you about on Friday?
I should be.
Because I will hang out you, because I might come up to Leicester on Friday.
There's nowhere to film here, though. There's no, unless you know of anywhere.
No, just for a meetup, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do they call it? Where I usually go film the days at Brampton Park, is it, or somewhere?
Yeah, Brampton Park.
Yeah. You know, that's a good place, but you can't fly a drone. But it's you've got the red stags and everything. You know, I mean, you could fly your drone if you got there before all the rangers or wardens get there about 6 in the morning. Shoot up.
Well, I went to Bradgate Park in the middle of summer, and someone had obviously they did take a drone on there because there was a drone flying over, and there was about 3 or 4 jeeps chasing this drone. They were trying to find this person who had this drone. He must have been at least a good half a mile, you know, 2 miles away, because he was obviously laughing at him because he was going up and down and side to side, and they didn't know where they were going. They didn't. So, but you can get you're not allowed on there, obviously, but it's hard because when you go to drone, like there's places where I live where there's big open water, but there's people there. You know, ducks and geese and, you know, swans. So it doesn't say if you can or you can't. So then you think, can I or can't I? And there's some really beautiful places I really would love to take the drone across, but you just don't know if you can or not.
Well, here I've got the QE2 lakes, and there is nearly 80 swans and 52 geese, and they're all at the front. They all walk up to you when you're there, because I think you got food. I put my Mavic there, and they kind of watched me, and I just took it straight up, and a couple of them flew away, but the majority of them stayed still. Yeah. You know, and I went up, and there was nobody complained. A couple came up and said, "Oh, let's have a look at your footage," you know. So, you know, you can actually move away from where the birds are and fly.
I mean, places like that should have like a drone symbol or a drone symbol with a cross through it. You know, it would help droners if that sort of thing was, you know, available for droners to see.
I agree. You know, but I mean, the majority of people are quite happy with drones. There's the odd few that aren't, you know, which think you're going to do something. You know,
yeah, there's a few people that just think that there's the root of all evil.
Yeah, well, this is it. You've got to do it, and then if somebody comes up to you, you just say, "Okay, sorry, I didn't know," and just walk away, don't you? Pixie or someone just says, "If I come on Friday for a meetup with you, Dennis, I've got to record Emma singing."
Sure, that happen.
Well, you know, I just thought it's not about flying the drone. I just thought I'd put, you know, for a meetup, it'd be just nice to have a chat.
That'd be great.
And a cup of coffee and a bit of cake. You know,
If you go from Leicester to Melton Mowbray, there's a lot of out open stuff there, like. Yeah,
I'll tell you what, pork pies could send one to send a couple to Baz and Bella. You know, let the dog steal them.
Pork pie special.
Oh, we've got Ramp Jams in. Hello, Ramp Jams. Nice to have you in my live stream. Wow, we have been honoured tonight. I've had two well-known YouTubers, Ramp Jams and DIY Dark Matter. You know, Pixie. You know, I've hit the jackpot tonight, and I've got a great panel on tonight talking about drone filming techniques.
I have a drone when I was down Leicester, like, you know, it's not the sort of thing I've looked at, you know, but Leicester covers such a wide area that it's very difficult to find a place to fly a drone. But on the outskirts, going out towards Melton Mowbray, there is a lot of fields there, and you know, there's some old structures there. You know, that might be worth doing.
Yeah, I might get me a drone someday. Oh, Rant Jams is thinking about getting a drone as well. So it's 20 past 10. I think I've been on for an hour and 20 minutes. Yeah, I have been. So I'm going to close the stream down now, fellas. Keep on, and we'll have a chat. So I'd like to thank everybody in the chat for taking part, and I appreciate all your support. And we'll have another topic maybe later on in the week about filmmaking. So don't forget, tomorrow night I'm interviewing at That Heals Stephanie at 9 p.m. UK time. So appreciate you all coming in. So would the panel like to say good night to those in the chat?
Good night.
Yeah, sure. Good night, everyone. Thanks for all the great comments.
Yeah, ciao, guys.
Great feedback.
Bye then, everybody.
Bye-bye.